Start recording, and then Carly, I'm just gonna pin your video. You should be able to unmute yourself, but first thing I wanted to do is just kind of like introduce yourself and like let everyone know like who you are, all that jazz.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully he stays calm. We'll see. Okay, my name is Carley Guerrero. I am a triple diamond with It Works. I'm 26 years old. I'm a single mom of 2 kids. So now I'll just tell my story. I was like trying to focus on getting him in his bottle. Did you say my story? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. Before, my story is kind of long and crazy, but before It Works, okay, I was a full-time hairstylist, and I was booth renting, seriously, in the salon that, like, I dreamed of, because I always thought that, like, do you want to get down there with her? No, she's got a bowl of cereal. We'll wait. I always thought that, you know, the salon that I would be in would be, like, cute and, like, chic, and, like, all these girls, like, I would just have so many friends in it. And seriously, like, as soon as I graduated cosmetology school, I went right to that salon, and I was like, I'm obsessed. Like, I'm never leaving this place. It's my dream salon. Like, everybody here is so nice. And I was booth renting. To, like, toot my own horn, but, like, I was good at doing hair, okay? And so I kind of had the confidence. Can y'all hear me? Or is my Wi-Fi being crazy?
I think
good?
My
okay.
Wi-Fi's doing it, but I can hear you.
Sometimes it's mine, and it, like, people will pause and then just, like, move real fast. I'm like, uh-oh. But, okay, just keep it down there. I was good at doing hair. And so I had the confidence thinking that I could go into booth renting and just slowly build my clientele by, like, word of mouth, and going to use social media to, like, market my, my business doing hair. Like, I had a hair Instagram, I had a Facebook page, all of those things. And I was like, I'm just going to go into booth renting, and I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm just going to grow my business and whatever. Well, I was spending $500 a month just on my chair, $125 every single Thursday, okay? And along with booth renting, I had to supply all of my brushes, clips, shampoo, conditioners, literally everything. I was in control. Like, I had to provide. Like, the salon gave you nothing. They literally just gave you a chair. And so we started, like, falling behind on bills. And I sat down and was like, okay, how much money am I bringing in a month? And it was like $200, $300 in that. This just isn't cutting it. Berkeley is, like, she needs things. Like, I need to step it up. And so I started, whatever's out there that can help me and can help this situation, like, throw it on. 2 weeks later, I followed Courtney Bohr on Instagram. I saw, I was a hairstylist, so her platinum blonde hair, I was like, holy moly, her hair is perfect. I need to stalk her Instagram, okay? And I was, like, so far in her Instagram, guys. Like, it seriously sucked me in. And I was, like, just rolling. And I saw the picture of her car and how she paid it off. And I was like, wow, like, what does this girl do? Is this real? Can I do this? Like, what's this? Hold on, let me get this cereal real quick from under my desk. That's where Berkeley goes to eat when I'm in it. He just kind of wants to play, so I'm like, okay. But, what, Berkeley? Okay, now you want up here. Why don't you play with Bubba? I think that's what he wants. Just wasn't cutting it, you know what I mean? Like, bills were piling up. We were seriously having our utilities. I remember you have to be quiet if you're in here, or you're gonna go get in your bed, okay? Our water was shut off like once a month. We had 3 cars repossessed, and I remember just sitting there telling myself, like, this is not how you're supposed to live life. And, I felt like a failure because I have a child who I'm supposed to care for, and it's like, I can't even keep my water on so I can flush my toilet. Like, what is happening? You know what I mean? And, there were some times where we would go to the grocery store, and, I would check my bank account before, on the app, I'd be like, okay, wow, I've got $34.24. Like, what can I go and get? And I would seriously, like, write down how much everything was, and then, like, figure out the total and, like, try to put tax to make sure I didn't go over. And there was sometimes that my card would decline at checkout, and it's like having to leave a bag of groceries at the checkout when there's people behind you is the most embarrassing, awful, worst feeling in this world, especially when you have a baby sitting in the little kid seat. And so I was like, I felt like I was being judged. I felt like I was just a failure, you know, all of these things, all of these feelings. And do not pull that light down. So, you know, I was like, there's more out there. And so literally followed Courtney. And I was in a business before, but it never went anywhere. And so I never really, like, I joined the business, but I never tried to do anything with it. You know what I mean? I just sat there because I felt, it's about to pull the dang blinds down. The products were just so expensive. It was like $600 to even join the business. And so I was like, I can't even afford this, because Brad, my ex-husband, his aunt actually paid for us to join because she was in the business. And so she was like, well, I'll just pay for y'all to join my team. And so we did, and never went anywhere with it. And so I kind of knew the questions to ask Courtney. I was like, you know, how does this work? You know, yada, yada, yada. And she just answered my questions. And I was like, you know what? I seriously have $0 in my bank account right now, but Friday I'm booked at the salon and I'm going to make like $400. And so I'm going to join this business. Okay. Friday came around, and the way that we were living was like, I was going to make $400, but that $400 was already supposed to go somewhere, you know, $100 here, got to get groceries, got to get this. And so it's like, I really didn't even have the money. Like, yes, I had $400. It's okay. Yes, I had $400, but I needed to spend that elsewhere. And so I remember sitting down, I had my last $100, and I was like, what are you going to do? Kid, he's wrapped up in my phone charger trying to pull my ring light down. This is life. But I remember sitting there, you know, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, Courtney said, holy mother of pearl. I remember Courtney said, you know, with the kit, you're going to get wraps, and you can sell those wraps to make your money back. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump in. I was like, I'm so scared. I don't know if I'm like making the biggest mistake of my life, or if this is going to be the biggest blessing. But you guys, I did not pay my water bill. I was like, I'll go one more time with that thing getting shut off and join this business, and everything's going to be fine. Okay. I joined the business, and once I got my kit, I got my kit in like 4 days, sold my wraps, took that $100, paid my water bill. So I like did both of them. And then I actually signed my first distributor. I joined the 19th and she joined the 21st. And so I got my first $100 bonus the next week. And so already I've paid my water bill, joined the business, and gotten a $100 bonus. And I was like, wow, okay, this might turn out to be a blessing. I see y'all are being sweet. I just ran with it. And, you know, I always tell my team that every 6 months something is going to happen in your life that you're not in control of. And I'm sure y'all have heard the same thing. Like every 6 months you're going to go through some life-changing event, whether it's you're getting a car wreck or, you know, something happened. Okay, well, part 2 of my story. So I joined this business November 19th of 2016. Hey, stop pulling on him or you're going to go get in your bed. He doesn't want to be hugged. Please get off. You stop pulling her hair. Okay. This is all day, every day. Like I'm seriously like, but, so last summer, okay, I was actually able to leave an abusive marriage because of this business. And that is something that if this business wasn't placed in my life when it was, I wouldn't have been able to get out of, because I wouldn't have had money. I wouldn't have had anything. You know what I mean? Like I seriously would have been depending on him. And so this business, hey, give him his passy. This business I know was placed in my life, you know, when it was, so I could work it and build it up to, you know, double diamond, which is where I was when I left. And now ever since, you know, my bills are paid in full, I was able to get, like, literally left, what's today? The 9th? I left July 5th. No, July 5th is when everything happened. I left. You have to be quiet or you're going to leave. Okay? They will see you get your butt spanked. I'm not afraid to spank you. So sit down and be quiet. Okay. I left July 10th, okay? So tomorrow it will be 1 year since I just pieced up out of that marriage. And then on the 12th, I didn't have a car, you know what I mean? Because it was always my car that got repossessed. And so on the 12th, I just walked into a dealership and was like, listen, my credit is shot, because like that was just part of like being with him, like seriously, like it just, yeah. But I was like, I have no credit. I get paid in a couple days and I can come and put $2,000 down. And they were like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. And seriously, you guys, my very first dream board that I ever had, I put a Toyota 4Runner on it. That car is sitting in my driveway. I walked into that dealership and he was like, we have a 2010 Toyota 4Runner. And I was like, let me see it. You know, test drove it and I was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
yes.
That was crazy. I was like,
I know. I just walked in. Like, because Shay was with me, Shay and Brianna, and I was like, I'm just going to go see if I can even get a car. Go in the living room or be quiet. I was like, I'm just going to see if I can get a car. And then I left for the car. And I was like, wow, like, that's what this business can do for you if you show up and let it. Where's this Cassie? Can you read this, Cassie? Will you go get your iPad, please? And your pillow and a blanket? And you can sit in here. Okay. That's my story.
Literally, it makes me want to cry. You're so amazing. You're so inspiring. And that's just insane. I can't not believe it's been a year. I mean, like, I just, like, remember that so vividly, like, everything happening. And it's just so crazy to think that it was a year ago tomorrow. That's insane to me.
On the 5th, I was like, not on the 5th, on, like, the 3rd, I was like, my anxiety, like, everything was, like, through the roof. I was like, oh, my God, like, what am I going to do on the 5th? Like, it's been 1 year since everything happened. Like, what do I do? And, you know, I was just, like, praying, like, I didn't want to, like, be sad about it. And so I was like, you know, I'm just going to, like, celebrate and, like, look back at everything that's happened in the last year. And it's like, you know.
Yeah. I don't think you mentioned this, but Homegirl promoted to triple after all of this.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah. That's just what blows my mind.
July, I left, okay. August, I moved into my apartment. September, he was born. October, I promoted to triple. So seriously, in, like, the craziest, most life-changing time of my life, becoming a single mom, having another kid, I promoted to triple diamond. And everybody's always like, how did you do that? And I always tell everybody, like, everything else in my life was so chaotic and such a mess that I was able to control my business. And that's what I always tell everybody. This business is the one thing that you 100% control, okay? So I very easily could have been like, I'm going through too much. I am sad. But instead I was like, nope, I'm going to show you. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to boss up. I'm going to seriously, like, move mountains. And that's what I've done. I really wanted to go ambassador by July 5th, but pending.
We're getting there. So I just remember this, like, from whenever I first joined, you always went live in Diamond Tribe about your organization tips. And I remember, I know she knows this, I'm so green. And I went over to her house for the first time for, I believe it was Riley's, or I guess her baby shower for Riley. And I saw her binder and I was like, give me this binder. I literally was like flipping through this thing, looking through it. It's literally still sitting over there on my desk because I was like, this binder is amazing. I need one. And that's just so funny. But I just kind of wanted you to go over, like, your organization tips just because they completely changed my life. Literally, it's that binder. That binder changed my life. So yeah, if you could just go over all of those. Obviously I have a couple more questions, but I just wanted you to hit on that first.
Yes. First off, my biggest thing, okay, and I joined in November. It was that January, okay? We were going into boom season, and it was my first boom season. And so I was like, what's boom season? What is this? Everybody was like, all of this hype, and I was like, I'm excited, but I'm kind of getting stressed. Like, what is all of this? And I remember Jade said, write everything down. Everything. Like, what promotion you're going toward. Plaster it everywhere. Sticky notes on your mirrors. Write it everywhere. Anybody that you talk to, write their names down. And so I was like, will you, hold on, let me get this back. All right, got some TJ Maxx bags on the floor and Riley is trying to go through it. But, you know, she was like, write everything down. And I was like, okay, all right, like, I'll write everything down. And from then on, I was like, I write everything down. Like, y'all are going to think I'm so crazy. But from then until now, I have lists in this binder. Hold on. I'll show you. All of these pieces of paper, these are all single pieces of paper that are all a different month. That's nothing but potential customers. I have a next tab that's nothing but potential distributors, like, just seriously all the way back to January of 2017. And so, like, with this half off join. I have been going through these lists and messaging people from 2017 who haven't signed on yet so what I do is obviously I write everything down, okay? But it's broken up into categories. And so I seriously just went to Walmart and I bought this big freaking, like the biggest binder that I could get because I was like, I don't know what all I'm gonna need to put in it, but I got the biggest binder that there was, and I just got like the cheap tabs, okay? This one says PLC. So every single month I get a notebook paper or computer paper, poke holes in it. And as I like to go by increments of 5 for some reason. Like that's just how I'm very OCD as well. And so I always number to 10 first, okay? Potential customers and potential distributors. I give myself 10. And then once I've got those spots done, I go to 20 and then 30 and so on and so on and so on. So what I do is, and it doesn't matter where the conversation goes. Like if I send my first, like my initial loyal customer message and they say, what you got? Or yeah, give me more information. I'm like, oh, you're a potential customer. I don't care if you never message me back. Hey, do not stick that in his mouth. That's not nice. If they never message me back, like they're a potential in my book, okay? And so I write down their name, I write down what product they're interested in, and then where I'm talking to them. So Facebook, Instagram, or text messaging, because that makes it so much easier when I am going to follow up, because I can just look like, okay, Natasha, she wants coffee and greens. I'm talking to her on Facebook. So then I just go to Facebook, type in Natasha, send her a quick follow-up message. And seriously, it's every single person. Like I write everyone down, okay? And so that gets kind of hard, okay, if you're on the go a lot. So what I would do is go and get you one of these. A planner that has like a hardcover. Okay, I got this from TJ Maxx for $10. But I'm gonna keep this in my purse. It doesn't start until August, and so I'm just like patiently waiting to use it. But what I'm going to do is as I write down, and this is a lot, okay, I do a lot of extra work. Y'all are gonna realize that because I write their name down on my list in my binder, which stays in my office. But the same people are written down in my planner because this goes with me. I'm not carrying this binder everywhere I go, okay? But I don't mind carrying this in my purse. So that way, if I'm in the car and I just left Target and both kids are asleep, I'm like, listen, we're going to go drive around. I'm going to go to Sonic, get a drink, park, and I'm going to work. I've got my list. I can just sit there and follow up. So that's why I do that. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to keep it in a spiral and just take your spiral with you everywhere, that's fine. But just something that you can take with you that's got all of your potentials, because you never know when you can follow up. And then the next thing, it's the same thing, but potential distributors. And obviously I just write, what platform I'm talking to them on, Instagram, Facebook. Another thing that I do, which I don't do this anymore, I should, but I don't do it anymore, is actually print my steps to success and like watch myself fill that out. Because what I would do with that is like, yeah, please, those are Shay's. Take them down so they don't break. They're Shay's cups. Y'all's her cups for her diamond retreat are here. And Berkeley is currently stacking them up in a big giant castle. So let's put them back in the box. Y'all are getting cups, by the way. I don't know if y'all knew that. If you're a diamond going to this thing, you get cups.
I'm sure I'll see them tomorrow, and I'll send her a picture of them, so it'll be fine.
They're not. It's just the cup right now. But I would print the steps of success, and at the top I would write September or whatever. I would write what the month was, and then I would fill it out. Hey. I would fill it out, and I like to do that because my potentials list is obviously everybody. So like my potentials list gets up to like 150 people, and it's like that's not actually who is signed on, and I don't like it's time consuming to go and like count how many people actually signed up. And so like on my steps to success, I'll write who's enrolled. And so what I can do is I can go and see like, okay, wow, like 13 customers that month, 23 this month. And it's just kind of like there for a while, it was cool for me to like look back, and I like to compare months. So like, this month of this year, what did I do? And then this month of this year, what did I do? No, you cannot stack them up. Please take them down. And then I said, no. The next thing that I did, no, do not. I'm about to spank your butt. Please do not. If they break, okay, if Auntie Shay comes over and they're broken, she's going to spank your butt. I know. She went, but you're going to try not to break them. I also keep charts, like once I've promoted, I obviously keep those charts because I like to go back and look at it, but I also like to keep my team's charts when they've promoted. And I write down like the day that we promoted. So like this one says, whose chart is this? So Caroline Floyd. She promoted to diamond on April 29th of 2019. And so like I keep this because it's just like 3 years from now, I can be like, oh my gosh, do you remember when you went diamond? Like, here's your chart. Like, I don't know. I'm just like that. And so I like to keep those. The next thing that I have is, let's see, just blank paper for notes. And then I have a little pin thing, and I keep all of my business receipts in here. So like every auto shipment, anything that is business related, it goes in here. That way I have all of my receipts in one place. But you know, it's just, I think, and you know, that's what I was talking about. Please put them down. When it comes to like being organized, you kind of have to like just go off of what works for you. Like I'm sitting here telling you what works for me and what helps me and what makes sense for me. And you might be like, Carly, it's crazy that you write it down in your binder and then also in your calendar. But that's just because I'm very like list. Like I had an iPad and I was so pumped, and I took it back because it literally sat on my desk for like a month and a half and I never used it because I was like, I'm like pen and paper. Like the iPad, even though I'm writing it in notes, like it's still not clicking for me. And so I had to just go back to this, and this is what works for me, and this is what I stick to. So figure out what works for you, what makes sense, and just roll with it. And it's seriously, you guys, write down your potential customers, have an area for those. Potential distributors, steps to success, charts, and that's it.
Yeah, I like that. And then I kind of wanted to go off of that as well. And I went and grabbed this. So like I said, I went to her house, took everything she had. This is
She was seriously going through it. Like she was
I literally was like flipping through every page, and I was like, oh, okay, just like, because that's just how I am. I'm so nosy. But it was literally so funny just because I wanted to know like how she organized. And so what she said, like you do it in like your own way, because like I have to use the iPad. Like I got my iPad, and then I had it was like another binder like that, and I loved it. And this is gonna sound so stupid, but my binder doesn't fit in my purse, but my iPad does. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna use my iPad. So as long as I'm using this cute purse that I bought, I'm gonna use my freaking iPad because I'm not letting either of those go to waste. And I do basically the same exact thing she does, but just instead of a note and another binder, it's just my iPad, another binder. So I have they're all on my iPad, but like I have like a list of potentials, and like that one has 2 people on it because it just started. So we're not gonna do this one, but this is for like the last couple days. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's just like list of names written down of their either that name or their first and last name, where I talk to them, if they're a PDT or a PLC, and if they are a PLC, what products. And then at the end of the month, I go through and I print all of them out and I put them in here. So like it's cool to see, like just like she said, because I mean like I promoted in March of 2018, I promoted to Emerald, and that just fell. And like I promoted, like I can see my chart. Like this is the physical chart that I use to promote to Emerald, and then I can flip it over and look that I promoted to Triple like that next year. And like this was it filled out, but that's because I was so excited.
To look at those charts, because who you go Emerald with is not who you go like double with. It might not even be who you go diamond with. Like who you go triple with might not be who you go prez with. You know what I mean? And so it's
there's one name on my Emerald chart, one that's on my Emerald, that's on my triple.
Yeah, like
exactly.
And that's, you know, that's something like your business is always going to be changing. And I like how, you know, something that I do, and I think that this kind of depends on like where you are in your business, which it doesn't matter what rank you are. You're like, I mean, if you're a Ruby, you have 3 people under you, you're a leader. Okay. And so you need to start leading them and helping them. And so what I did is I seriously went to Walmart and I got a red, a green, and a blue folder. Okay. Ruby, Emerald, Diamond. And this is nothing but charts, blank charts. And so when I send on a new distributor, once I get through their training, because I like to get a feel for how they're going to, can y'all hear me over them? You can? Okay.
I can, yeah.
Maybe they're just super loud to me. But like I like to get a feel for how they're going to work. And if I have somebody who is like putting in work, I make them a packet, Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, okay? Because that's the goal. Once you go Diamond, you should be able to lead, and you know, because Courtney Bohr enrolled me, and since I went Diamond, she has not placed one distributor, one customer, absolutely nothing under me. It's been me, okay? And that's how I feel like it should be. Like you have that leader's help to get to Diamond, you're the top 2% of the company now. You should know what it takes to keep diamond and to keep going. Okay. And so I feel like if I can find my rock stars or my runners or the people who I think are really going to put in an effort and make them this packet and then lead with them and work with them and teach my team to do that same thing, then we're focused on the right people. You know what I mean? The right areas. And so I do that, but then what I do is I have a different binder, which is just, I don't even know if It Works still sells these. I think that Shay might have given me this, or somebody, because I didn't order these. I think they came in a Ruby gift. So actually maybe Brianna gave it to me. But she gave me this, and then all of those charts of people, like, they go in here. Okay. So like people who are working on promotions, who I'm working with, and who are like serious about the business, it goes in here. So once a day, part of my 6 list is update charts. That's not just my chart. This is crazy to even say out loud. I hardly ever look at my presidential chart. Like hardly ever. Because I look at my triples chart. I look at my doubles, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, what do y'all need here? Because that's what gets me there. And so it's like focusing, like kind of not focusing just on yourself, focus on your team helps so much. That was just a little extra tip.
Yeah. And like, I love that. And like she said, cause like I do all of those things, but just through my iPad. So I mean, like you literally just kind of like have to figure out like what works best with you and just kind of like run with that. And I mean, like there's times when like I feel like I should smile because you're taking a boomerang, but but yeah, just like figure out like what works best with you. Cause I mean, like I loved the pen and paper, and then like I just realized that like I had an iPad, so I could just do it there. But like just because we do she does pen and paper and I do an iPad doesn't mean that neither one of us are going to be like it's better than the other. It's however like you think and like you like process things, and like that's really like what I feel like matters. So my next question that we wanted to ask you was, you kind of touched on it whenever you're talking about your story, but like how did you go through life while working? And like obviously you know what I mean. So like how did you just like do all of that?
So what is that? This is like my office and our craft room, and so my mom's like sewing machine pedal is over there, and Riley's like, I'm like, let's not. But so how did I like work this business, like going through life? Okay, so first off, the number one thing, like I said before, is this business was that number one thing that I was in control of, and so it's okay. Everything. It's kind of like I clung to it because it was so good. My business was so good. The friends, the income, just everything about this business was so good that's what put me in a better mood. Okay. And so it's like, I'd wake up and I'm like, okay, like, do I have to walk on eggshells today? Like, how's today going to go? What's going to happen today? But I would just make my keto coffee and go and sit down and start working and start messaging and starting these conversations with people and checking in with my team and talking to like my friends who I made in this business. And it's like, it almost like made me forget about the life that I was living. You know what I mean? Okay, you can go upstairs. I can't go with you. I'm working. But that was first thing, is like this business was like just the number one thing that was good for me. And so I clung to it. And then also, if I would have let that get me off task, or if I would have let that consume me, then I wouldn't have been able to leave. And because like when I left, I lived with my parents for a month, you know what I mean? Because like I was like, we lived off of my income, and so it was like my It Works income was the only income that we had, and it was paying everything, and it got to a point to where it was like, okay, like we need more, how are we going to get that? And what things? Yes. So you're going to sit down and be quiet. It came to candy jar. It came to a point, where, like, not that we didn't have money, but it just wasn't the money that we really needed. And so whenever I left, I lived with my parents for a month, because it's like, okay, going out on my own is scary. So I feel like I need to mentally prepare myself for that. And then also, like it's expensive to move out and start your life. Like putting a deposit down, like half month's rent or your first month's rent, it's seriously like so expensive to move in somewhere. And it was like, you know, my income was paying our bills that we had, but we had just moved into a house. I had just paid $3,000 for us to move into a house in April, okay? And then here it is July, and I'm trying to, oh, that's my phone charger. I'm trying to, you know, prepare myself to move out again and pay a deposit and rent and all that stuff over again. And so it was like, wow, like I need to take a month and I need to prepare myself. I need to start saving. And if I would have used that month to be like, oh, it's just too hard, like I'm just going to sulk in all of this, I wouldn't have had the money to get my apartment. I wouldn't have had the money to get my car. I wouldn't have had the money to do the things that I needed to do. And so I just always tell people that, you know, this business, I had to make it work. There was no option. I did not want to go and get a job anywhere. I didn't want to put Berkeley in daycare. I didn't, like, especially being a single mom. Like being a single mom, putting Berkeley in daycare, who's 7 months pregnant, about to have another baby, and then you have 2 kids in daycare on one income. I was like, that's why I try to help people join this business, you know? And so I don't want to have to go and get the job. And so I literally just on this, and I was like, you have to make this work. And so I made it a priority. I was like, listen, then you know, and it kind of ties into like one of my favorite questions to answer, and it's almost kind of like a pet peeve too, is when people say, how do you keep your team motivated? There's no such thing as staying motivated. Nobody stays motivated. Motivated isn't even the word that you need to like cling to. It's discipline. It's having the discipline to show up to this every single day. Because I'll tell you right now, like, you know, Corey came over today, and I would have much rather, instead of like, you know, at, I don't even remember what time it was, like 7:30, I sat down and started like sending more messages and getting ready to get on these Zooms and everything. And instead of doing that, I would have much rather sat there and watched a movie with him. But I was like, well, can't, like, I gotta work, you know? And so it was like having the discipline to show up, because there's always going to be something else that you want to do, no matter what it is in life, no matter if it's go shopping all day and not be on your phone, or if it's lay in your bed and watch Netflix I love Stranger Things, you guys. Love it. Absolutely love it. And the first 2 seasons, I watched in one night. I'm on episode 5, and it's been out since the 4th. And so I am behind my schedule, but that's because I can't, like I'm disciplined, you know? I'm like, oh, should I do that? Or like, should I work, you know? And I'm choosing to work. Yes, baby. Do you have, yes, here. And so that's kind of it. It's like, if you're going through life, and 2, don't think that you're the only one who's going through life, you know? Like, were y'all on Courtney's Zoom, like the Diamond Tribe Zoom just now? She's had one heck of a year, like seriously. And she's going through life. She's going through it right now, but she's still showing up to her business. And so that's just the thing, is don't feel like you're a victim, and don't feel like, you know, somebody's just out to get you. That's just part of life. You're going to go through something. And so I feel like if you're just prepared to like know that like, hey, life is going to happen eventually, but I'm still going to truck through and push through this business. Like, that's just what it's about. Just being disciplined, making it a priority, and doing it because you have to.
I love that. And I love what you said about like being motivated. Cause like, I've never looked at it that way. Cause I mean, like we always say like, you have to be motivated to do the work, but like, no, like you have to be disciplined. And like, it's like, just like interchanging that word just like literally means like, it just like makes it so different. Cause like, I mean, I always tell myself like, it's hard to stay motivated, but like, no, like I'm motivated cause like, I want to be able to like have kids and like be able to have a family and like move into like a home and things like that. But like, I have to be disciplined enough to do that, like, to do the work that I can do things like that. So I love how you said that. I'd never like looked at it like that, and I like that. Okay, so this one, I guess this kind of goes like hand in hand with what you just talked about, but we have like a lot of moms on our team, and a lot of them just want to know like, how do you juggle being a mom and working? And I mean, obviously you're triple, so you're doing something right. I mean, like you're going pres, so just kind of like touch on that and like any tips that you have for that.
Yes. So first off, it's crazy. All right. It's crazy. Like there's sometimes like, okay, honestly, I love Shay to death. Love her. Okay. And she knows this. Like I've told her this, because like there for a while, like she'd come over and I'm like trying to keep up. I'm like, good God, can we take a 10-minute break? Like I've got to change a diaper. Okay, we're still going. All right. Well, crap. I've got to quit. I'm tapping out. Like I'm trying to like keep up with her. And it's because like, you know, she's not a mom. Like she literally wakes up, and is, hey, exclamation point, yep, cleanse, comma. And I'm like, girl, like, I gotta make breakfast, I gotta make coffee, like, what are we doing? So I'm like trying to keep up with her, you know, and you have to know that being a mom in this business, there's a certain way you have to work, okay? And that's by just figuring out what works for you, basically, okay? Like, you know, the way that Shay works, I can't work. I can't wake up and first thing start working. I can't, you know, like I can't even, like I don't even really get to start working until my day is, I'm like 2.5 hours in. You know what I mean? Because I have to like make breakfast, get kids dressed, get Berkeley to school, come home, make breakfast again, make coffee, try to get on a journaling Zoom. Like seriously, like it's just, I'm a hot mess express 24/7, like to be honest. But, you know, it's figuring out when you can work throughout the day, okay? And so my kids are not on a schedule. I don't know, props to you if your kids are on a schedule. I don't know what the secret sauce is to getting your kids on a schedule, but I'm going to need it because it's so hard. Like it wasn't bad when Berkeley was an only kid because like, it's like, fine, I've got one kid. You want to go to bed at 10:30? Well, here, let's sit in the living room until 10:30. But now it's like, well, she's up and he's doing this and I'm trying to do this. And it's like, oh my gosh. And so just figuring out when you can do things throughout the day. Okay. So for me, I have alarms set on my phone and I don't even know exactly what time they are. It's like, they start going off at 9:15 and that's for me to check in with my new distributors. And so like if I've signed any new distributors, then that alarm goes off and it's like, just reminds me to send them a message like, hey girl, how's it going? Just something like that. It doesn't have to be like, hey, have you done this? Like just a simple check-in with them so they know that I'm here. So they don't feel like I signed them and just they haven't heard. Okay. So I check in with my new distributors. And then at 10:30, my first alarm goes off to message and I send 20 messages. And I have 10 of those alarms go off throughout the whole day. They like my messaging alarms start at 10:30 a.m. and they end at 10:30 p.m. Okay. So randomly throughout the day, I have all these alarms. It's okay going off and it just says send 20 messages. It's okay. And so it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I stop and I send 20 messages because first, it's okay, Berkeley. I use text replacement. So it takes like, Berkeley, I know he's messing with the window. It's going to be okay. You color. And so, you know, I stop whatever I'm doing and I send those messages because I have text replacement. And so it takes like 5 to 6 minutes to send 20 messages. And so like today, for example, I was doing laundry all day. And so like I got home, like yesterday was like my cleaning day. So like I cleaned everything. So as I'm cleaning, you know, well, yesterday I remember I was vacuuming and I have my watch. And so it starts vibrating. I'm like, oh, send 20 messages. So I went and got my phone off the counter. And as I'm vacuuming, I'm just sending 20 messages, like getting it done. You know, Riley's like in the floor playing. So it's just fitting it in when you can. Like it makes it a little bit harder. Like it's only harder for me at night because I feel like that's whenever everybody's like responding to my messages and like trying to sign up. And I'm like, I'm trying to get kids in bed and to sleep and bathe and all this stuff. And so, you know, and something too that I heard, I think Sherry Lynn said it, was just because somebody messages you back doesn't mean that you have to message them back right away. Like, don't wait 2 days, but like if you have to wait an hour, it's okay. You know what I mean? And so like when I'm trying to get them in bed, if somebody messages me, it's like, okay, I can set my phone down for an hour and focus on getting them asleep. And then, you know, while I'm in the bathtub or, you know, while I'm sitting down doing whatever, I can send, you know, respond to messages. But it's seriously just knowing kind of like how your day goes. Like none of my days are ever the same, you know, because like I said, my kids are not on a schedule, but for the most part, I know Berkeley goes to school at 9. I know I pick her up at 2. So those 5 hours when it's just Riley, like I try to get him breakfast and down for at least 2 naps while she's gone, because that gives me good work time, like kid free. And then when Berkeley comes home, like for 2 hours I play and then I'll go work out. And then when I come home from workout, it's like eat dinner. While I'm eating dinner, responding to some messages, get them in the bath while they're in the bathtub, responding to some messages, get them in bed, not on my phone, they're asleep, I work.
Yeah, and I love that. And like, obviously, like you are a mom, so most of your potentials, whether they're customers or potential distributors, they're more than likely going to be moms. So if you don't respond for an hour, say like, oh my gosh, so sorry, trying to get the kids in bed. They are going to know what you mean, because most of the time, like if you're a mom, they are going to have kids too. So like they're going to know he was waiting for that bottle. His tongue was all the way out his mouth. Sorry, that was so cute. But yeah, it's just like, if you're a mom, like you're going to be attracting moms. So they're going to understand that you may need 30 minutes to respond to put your kid to sleep. Like they are going to understand that. So don't ever think that you have to respond right away. And I mean, like, even for me, cause like with my schedule, like I'm just kind of like Shay, like I wake up and like I have like a good routine here in the morning where like, I'm really not looking at my phone until I've been awake for 2 to 3 hours, just cause like I go to work out, come home, shower, make coffee, get on journaling Zoom. And then that's when my day starts. So from like 6:30 to like probably 10:30, honestly, I'm not responding to messages. Like I may be posting on my story, but like people can see that I'm doing something. So not that like I'm busy, but you know what I mean? So don't ever think that you have to respond like right away. I definitely get that way like during promotion months because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on the sale. Like, no, like they are going to buy from you and join your team because they're going to buy from you and join your team, not because you responded in 0.5 seconds. So always remember that. Don't ever feel like guilty about that. And I just hope that you touched on that because I'm not a mom, so I can't give those tips of like, I know, like, I think I know how I'm going to work my business when I have kids. I'm sure it's not, but we know we'll figure that out when the time comes. But it's always good to see for like us girls who don't have kids, like how I am a firm mom. Keto needs me all the time. It's fine. But it's always good just to see like other ways to work your business. But like with a little Riley bean on you, like I'd love one of those. So yeah. And then I just had one more question for you. And like, I know you kind of said this or like mentioned this earlier, but like, what is your like 6 list and like your daily goals? And do you give yourself like a requirement for enrollments by the end of the week? Like, I hope that makes sense.
So let me find his passing. It cannot have gone far. Like, did you eat it? Okay, well, I got another passy. That's probably the most expensive part of a baby, are passies, because you get a new one and like you got 3 and then you have none. But so, you know, recently, and like I kind of heard Courtney talking about this on the Zoom a little bit. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that recording because we were all over the place during that. But she said something like, crap, no, it just went out the window. I don't remember. She said something that like hit me, and I was like, wow, okay, like I like that. But she said like she had to find herself again, you know, like everything that she went. Well, like I think she was talking about when she became a mom, and she was talking about like trying to like figure out, you know, because you go from working your business. Like she started this business before she had Riker. And so she had like this routine of how she worked. And then she had a kid. It's okay, baby. Just give him this, okay? We're fixing to go get in bed. Hold on. She had this routine of, you know, working her business and how everything went. And then she had Riker, and you just can't work the same. You know what I mean? Like you have to figure out a new way to do things. And so it was like, you know, I joined this business in Berkeley was little. And so I was able to work this business, you know, with a kid. And then, bam, I've got 2 kids by myself. And so, like, I promoted a triple, but it was kind of like I promoted a triple and, like, forgot how to work this business. Like, I was just like, wow, like, that exhausted me. And now I seriously have 2 kids. And, like, because Riley was born in September, so October, like, he was 1 month old. He was still in that eat, sleep, poop phase, like literally slept all the time. And now it's like, wow, like I've got 2 kids who are doing 2 separate things in 2 separate places, and one's going here and one's going here, and you know, this one's hungry and this one's tired. So like honestly, like the last like few months I've had to like find myself, you know, and like kind of like figure out my why again. And you know, I was talking to Shay about this because like when I joined this business, I wasn't happy with where my life was. You know, I didn't like the house that I was living in. I was thankful, you know, because thank goodness, like I had a house, but it was like, hold on, baby, just close your eyes. Here, we're fixing to go get in bed. I gave her Benadryl, so she is just fading quick. Don't judge me. Moms know Moms know. But, you know, like, I had to find myself again. And it's taken time to kind of like figure it all out. But recently, recently I, told myself like, there's no reason why you can't enroll 30 customers every single month. And, I don't like to enroll more than 7 distributors a month unless there's a promo like this. Just because I want to enroll distributors and give them a fair training. And I feel like if I sign more than 7, then I like stress myself out and I'm not able to like really pour into them like the way that they deserve, because my number one thing is like people join this business trusting me to get them where I am, trusting me that I'm going to help them get there. And if every single month I'm enrolling 25 distributors, how am I going to be able to lead and help 25 people, on top of my team? And so, if more than 7 people come to me, obviously, yes, I help them, but like I try to not overwhelm myself. And so just close your eyes. So I do 7. I try to get no less than 7 distributors every single month. But with customers, before it was kind of just like whatever I got. I always got at least like 15. But here recently I was like, you know what? Like you're a triple diamond, you're trying to go presidential. And, I always told myself, because I always tell my team, like, be the hardest worker on your team. Like, there shouldn't be somebody in my downline who's showing me out. That's how I feel, kind of. And so, I was like, there's no reason why you can't enroll 30 customers. And so that's what I started doing the last month and this month is my 7 distributors and 30 customers. It doesn't matter how many I get a week. I guess I could start breaking it down that way because it would be a little bit easier. But, I guess I haven't, because there's some weeks where you're like, where's all the people? And then there's other weeks where it's like, where were y'all last week? Like, hello, there's 20 of you this week. But, I just feel like if you're setting those goals and just working towards it, and like, because I know that 30 customers, okay, throughout the whole month, that's about a customer a day or, whatever. But if I'm doing like the things that I know are going to grow my business and produce an income and, help me get customers, then I know I'm going to get that 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. And like, I like that you touched on that, just because like for my personal goal, like I'm like opposite. Like I try to focus more on distributors because I feel like I thrive more in like a chaotic situation. And I remember the month, we're doing it. I remember the month that we had like, I think it was like our first $20 deal. I had just went diamond and I had enrolled like almost 30 distributors in a month. And like, I was so overwhelmed, but like I was over here and I was like, reply. And I just felt like so chaotic, but like, I also felt like I got so much more work done at the same time. So like, I focus mine differently, but I mean, like, that doesn't mean anything different, it's like, just focus on like whatever. And like she said, like, as long as you know that you're doing those things daily to build your business, like that's all that matters. And like, I know like for myself, like it's day 9 and I haven't enrolled a customer this month, but I've also enrolled 3 distributors who are working on going executive this month. Like right now, like one of them's already gotten their shopping spree. So like I'm helping them do that, which is like also building my own business in itself. I hope that makes sense. And I'm so thankful that you got on. If anyone has any last minute questions, please drop them in the chat. But this is recording and I will post it on my YouTube. So,
and one of my, another tip that I have is like, this is something for me that like, or like that I realized is once you hit like the higher ranks, it's not so much about you being a mass enroller as it is you leading your team. Okay. Because if I'm signing 30 customers every single month, but I'm the only one on my team doing that, what good is that, But if I can enroll 15 customers and I can have a lot of people on my team doing that. Are you saying that?
Hi, Riley.
Say hi.
Hi, Riley Bean.
She knows your name. He's like, he gonna wait?
This is gonna be me tomorrow. I'm just gonna stare at him all day.
Yeah, he goes, But it's about leading your team, okay? And so, just like she said, maybe she hasn't signed on any customers, but she has her team doing that. And so that's what it's about, you guys, is just leading from the front and showing up.
Yeah, I love that. And like I said, thank you so much for hopping on. I don't think anyone has any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and pause.